Hello teacher, this is Jose Medina and this is my presentation about teaching the whole child. Well, this is my content of this presentation. So we are going to start with the concept, what is this and in what consists. Secondly, with why is important and the necessary to promote this way to teach. Third, uh, application, how we apply this process. Fourth, action steps, the steps to consider in order to promote it. Fifth, social emotional standards, how the standards are established for each level. Sixth, the environment that it generates by its application. Seventh, the social emotional competences contrast frameworks that support SEL. So the competence are exampled by teaching practices, and frameworks are about theory of this concept. So the contrast conclude with ways to integrate SEL by theme per 3, which I dominate as the contrast of competence and frameworks. So the contrast of theme competences with the 3 frameworks give us some ways to integrate this process. So, and also conclusions about this topic. Let's continue. Well, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is a different way to teach. In this case, we can find in this process to develop the student's social emotional competencies, which are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, responsible decision making, and those competences cover knowledge, skills, attitudes, behaviors, relationships, ethical decisions, and other ones. So, first of all, in the self-awareness, we can find that students can recognize the factors like strengths, weaknesses, emotions, beliefs. So, the second, self-management, is the ability to have control under situations. For example, problems, circumstances, and so on. Social awareness, the third one, is take into account the other opinions, thoughts, and differences. And relationships management, which is the fourth, collaborative work, that it a competence emphasizing collaborative work. And the final one is responsible decision work. So is the make a critical and ethical decision about they will decide in to catch the objectives that they decide to achieve, or ways to make solutions problems on something like this. Okay, the next one is why it is important. Okay, the first one, increase the student's capacity to learn. Second, increase academic achievement. Third, increase social emotional skills. Fourth, improve attitudes towards self and others. Improve five, improve positive social behaviors. Six, decrease conduct problems and emotional distress. Seven, facilitate the communication between them and with teacher. So in this case, it's very important because they will develop uh, the, the integrate part, but at the same time the academic part for their learning process and share with others and with teachers in the classrooms, etc. So, the action steps to promote students' SEL. So, the first one is state actions. This is about adopt and develop to apply. What does it mean? Adopt material classes to this process, SEL, and develop activities and those material to apply to the class. So the implementation of this process, of this way to teach, is the first action step to promote these changes on those students. So the second, distract actions. What is the implementation to support the SIL process? So in this case, the implementation of this process to make evidence that this process has functional results in our students. The third one, schools administrator actions. So in this part, the administrator make this part integrate in the schools, because when the teacher, for example, put this process in his class or her class, and the second one, what is the implementation, shows evidence from this process. So the third one is the integration of this process for whole school. And the fourth is the teacher's actions, who evaluate or make feedback, take into account those steps or the process, which step by step make changes or generate changes in those students. So SEL connect with the teacher evaluation systems and professional learning opportunities. That's the main goal of this process. Social emotional learning standards. So in this case is the standards of that process that have, for example, any school. So in this case, the standards are the following. In the kindergarten, the standard is identify feelings and emotions. The grade for the grade 5, use strategies to manage their own emotions and be self-reflective. And grade 12, understood the impact on others and find community resources to help them self-manage. So in this case, those standards are for all groups that any school has. So in this case, Kindergarten is preschooler, grade 5. It covers all elementary school, which is first, second, third, fourth, and to grade 12 is all high school, and sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So in this case, those are the standards for age level, our students. Now, the ecology of SEL, which promoting positive learning environments. So, this ecology give to our students, including us as a teacher, engagement, safety, and environment. In engagement, we can find strong relationships that the student develops during the process. Safety, we find no bullying, no violence, and they feel comfortable or free to express any idea, any question. They don't think about if the others criticize them or something like that. And the environment, such as schools and classrooms, are fulfill student basic needs. So in this case, the environment for them is more comfortable, as I said, and they make confident with the others and with the teacher. Now we can find also competences and frameworks that support SER. So the competences were taken from practices from service teachers that promote student social emotional competencies. So in this case are first one, student-centered discipline, teacher language, which is the way or manner that teacher express or talk with their with his or her students. Third, responsibility and choice. For example, make decisions if there is a problem or any situation. Fourth, warmth and support, which is the co-evaluation and ether-evaluation. This part evaluation from others and from teacher about the own work of each student. 5. Cooperative learning, which is the same collaborative work. 6. Classroom discussions. 7. Self-reflection and self-assessment, which is the emphasis on of the own work of each student. Balance instruction. This is important because not just fun, but also is the content of any class. 9. Academic press and expectations. And 10. Competence building, modeling, practicing, feedback, and coaching. And from the other side of this contrast is the frameworks that support this process. In this case, we can find class, Danielson's framework, and Marsano protocol. So those are to develop the classes. But according with the reading with Nicholas, there is a contrast with the competences which each framework or way to develop this process, which is the social and emotional learning, and at the same time in each framework establish what the competence there is. Take into account this contrast between competences and frameworks, could find ways to integrate SEL. The first one, create tools, provide samples, incorporate teaching practices, connect teacher effort to contribute to students' social emotional competency, embed a focus on SEL in other education initiatives, promote collaboration, provide the knowledge around SEL, integrate the same practices into the classes, develop or define state standards that incorporate SEL. Conclusions. My conclusion with this theory is that I like this way to teach because it has many aspects that enrich my thoughts and beliefs about at the moment to teach or give my class, because I consider that needs, interests, learning styles are important at the moment to plan a lesson, because taking into account those aspects at the moment to give the class, to make a class, the students will feel more comfortable in order to achieve goals, objectives. So for me, it's very important those aspects, and this having in mind both parts, academic and moral, ethical, or the integral part of each student. So because it will be developed in a comfortable way, say, to achieve goals, to achieve objectives, and both for them and for us as a teacher. So because many students or the students with this way to teach feel free and more confident in themselves in order to ask questions, to give suggestions, to give comments. So finally, I will say that I completely agree with this kind of method or process as it was dominated at the moment to be a teacher. So thank you for this knowledge about ways to make better the environments of the classrooms, and that's it. Thanks, teacher.